Hi everyone, my name is Jane, and I'm a typical schoolgirl. Or at least I had thought so. I had a completely ordinary life while I studied, barely passed my classes from year to year with C's and D's, and just like any other kid, I would get in arguments with my mom. I wanted to take drawing lessons and become a famous artist someday, but she wouldn't let me. Then, when I became a teenager, literally nothing changed then either. I had the occasional bouts of anxiety, reckless abandonment, and fun, just like everyone else. That is, until very recently. It has come to my attention that something might be seriously wrong with me. And it happened accidentally one night in my sleep. Several days ago, after a fight with my mother, I came to my room and got in bed. For a long time, I was fidgeting back and forth because I couldn't fall asleep. The words of my mother still rung in my head. "You won't achieve anything. You're useless. You don't have any skills." I was used to it at this point. Or at least I thought I was. It was crap she would say to me every day when I came home. These words I could still hear in my head while I was lying in bed. Anytime I tried to think of something else, her words would come barging into my mind again, taking control. So I lay there, struggling till 4 a.m., and only then did I finally fall asleep. But honestly, I wish that I hadn't. In the morning, I woke up feeling even worse than before, and it wasn't just from a lack of sleep. There was a dream that I had that night. It was terrifying, and I didn't want to think of it. I had to put it out of my mind, but I woke up shaking and in tears. I couldn't get over it for a long time. After about 20 minutes, I finally came to my senses, realizing that it was just a dream. Don't dwell on it. So I got up, went to the bathroom, washed my face, and went downstairs to have breakfast. The scene downstairs upset me, too. My mother was sitting at the table and crying. Her exhausted face and red eyes had told me that she had been crying for several hours at that point. I sat next to her and asked what happened. She looked at me and said that this morning her brother, my dear Uncle Sam, died. He was a bit of an adrenaline junkie, and he had died in a motorcycle accident. And my mother had to go and identify the body just this morning. I was shocked. He was so young and kind, so full of life. I loved him. My mother asked me to leave her alone, so I went upstairs to my room. I didn't want to go to school, so I called my friend Samantha and told her that I would be staying home. She promised to tell the teachers in my stead. I didn't go into details on the phone call. I just said that we had some family issues, which was the truth. But apparently, Samantha thought that my mom and I had gotten into another fight, which I guess also wasn't exactly untrue. We were fighting well into the night, but I didn't care what she thought at that moment. It didn't matter now. The only thing that mattered was that my Uncle Sam was gone. He was a role model for me, so kind and cheerful. He loved everything and everyone around him. And now he was gone. But I didn't cry. The pain inside me was too strong for tears. And that's when it hit me. I recalled the dream I had the night before. It was a bit fuzzy in the morning when I first woke up, but I had seen my uncle's death, and I had woken up in tears. Wait, was it a dream? Maybe it wasn't. What if my mother had just come in early in the morning and had told me everything, but I was too sleepy and refused to believe it? Or I mean, what else could it be, right? Prophetic dreams are nonsense. Everyone knows that. You probably think I went mad. And I was so sad that I made out some dream where I saw in detail how my uncle at high speed on his motorbike hit someone. Yes, maybe you're right. That's definitely it. That has to be it. Anyway, the important thing now is to calm down my mother. So I went back downstairs and saw my mother gathering her thoughts and starting to make breakfast. "Hey, Mom, can I help you?" I had asked. But she remained silent. "I was thinking I wouldn't be going to school today," I had added carefully. She decided that she wasn't going to ignore that. "No, you will go to school immediately. Take your breakfast. You can eat it between classes. Get out of here. Go to school." She turned her tearful face to me and answered harshly. I said nothing. I just left the kitchen. I took my backpack into the hall and stormed out of the house. Only then did I finally start crying. I realized that the last man on earth who understood me is gone. And I was left with this terrible woman who can't even feel sorry for herself or for her own daughter, even in grief. This was a nightmare. It's unbearable. It hurts so much. I wish I had died instead of my uncle. I had to stop and clear my mind. I shouldn't have thought such harsh things about my mother. I can't. She's all I have left. She's just trying to get by, like me, but But still, I just want someone to understand me, embrace me, tell me that things are going to be okay. When I arrived at school, I got reprimanded for lying about family issues and for cutting the first 2 classes. Great, just great. Life couldn't be better. Samantha caught me between classes and asked exactly what had happened, and I told her. She couldn't believe it. She especially didn't believe my dream was related to the incident, and honestly, I didn't believe it either, so I didn't go into any details. I didn't tell her that I saw precisely how my uncle died in all of its gruesome detail. Samantha, though, was the only one who did actually feel sorry for me. My classmates and teachers just honestly didn't care why I had cut classes. All that happened the rest of the day was I failed some tests and went back home. But when I got there, my mom wasn't there. Honestly, though, I didn't mind. I was happy to have some peace and quiet. I turned on the TV and froze. On the news, I could see a motorcycle crashing into a truck. It was my uncle. It was the death of my uncle. And the accident that was shown on the TV was exactly as I saw it in my dream. How could that be possible? No, this was just nonsense. My mind's playing tricks on me. It can't be true. I pulled myself together, turned off the TV, and ran upstairs to my room. Why did I have a dream like that? How was this possible? What was going on? I didn't want to fall asleep anymore. Never, never again. What if I caused him to die? What if it was my fault? I was freaking out for about an hour. And then I heard the front door opening and my mother coming in. I tried to calm down. I didn't want her to yell at me while I was in a state like this. I took several deep breaths and slowly came back to my senses. I had to do something that could turn off my dreams. I knew that eventually I would have to fall asleep again. It was inevitable. But if I was going to be sure to dreamless sleep, I would have to make myself exhausted. So I decided to go out for a run. It was also a good excuse to keep ignoring my mom. I left the house at about midnight. I sneaked out silently and carefully so my mother wouldn't hear the noise. And after a good run, I came back, took a shower, and got to bed. After several minutes, I was sleeping tight. But I woke up feeling terrible pain in my legs. I felt my muscles were tearing apart. Last night's run had its consequences, but that was nothing. The thing I was most afraid of happened. I had a dream. I skipped washing my face and the other morning routine stuff because I wanted to turn on the TV as soon as possible. I had to know. Please, not this again. Just be a dream. Please, please, please. I beg you, please, please. I sat down in front of the TV with a shaking hand. I grabbed the remote and turned it on. And I knew that when I heard the news, my heart would be broken. But I had to make sure. This was my last chance. If my dream appeared to be the truth, that means my dreams can determine the future, a terrible and bloody future. That's why I wanted it to be a lie. Not this, not now. Why me? And when I turned on the TV, I saw the daily news and almost lost consciousness. Everything was just like in my dream. Again. It was as if it was my uncle all over again. The plane with 250 passengers crashed last night. It was a transatlantic flight. It didn't end well. I had seen the plane in my dream. I heard the heartbreaking screams of terror and the pain made by the dying passengers. I saw the turmoil. I saw the pilots going frantic. I knew the reason for the crash. I realized then that I knew exactly the reason. And I knew exactly why my uncle's motorbike had run into a truck. Wait a minute. This must mean that I can see the future. Maybe somehow I could even prevent catastrophes. But for that, I had to wake up in time, at least a few hours before whatever accident was going to occur. Maybe I could help people. Maybe I could save a lot of human lives, even if I couldn't save my uncle. But how? What am I supposed to do? I'm just a kid. Where do I even begin? And who would believe me?
Subscribe to the channel in order not to miss the next episodes of the series. If you haven't seen the previous episodes of the series, you should definitely watch those.